Hey everyone, you are tuning in for episode 4 of Murder in the First, the Barbers of Seville. We have another death in this episode. We're going to talk about it all. Terry and Hildy, what's going on? Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes. Sing it, Susannah. Yes, welcome to AFTERBUZZ TV. Perfect song for today's episode. If you have not seen it, what are you doing here? Go watch it. You will understand why we are playing pink right now, just like a pill, because Alicia took one too many pills.
Yes.
I mean, just under too many.
Yeah, exactly.
Just ever so slightly.
Not enough to be gone for sure.
Right,
you know?
but almost there. Hi, everyone. I am Monse Bolanos. Thanks for tuning in. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, MonseBolanos. Across from me, the lovely, the oh so pretty,
Thanks.
Susannah.
Susannah Kim. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Susannah_Kim.
Yeah. So, what'd you think of the episode? Give me, like, just on the spot. Yes, no, love it, kind of liked it, everything great. What?
It was okay. It wasn't my favorite episode, for sure. I think I'm a little confused by some of the things going on. Some of it was a little flat for me, like some of like the Mario stuff, and then some of the other stuff was a little too much, like, you know?
Yeah. It was I felt like it went definitely a little slower than others, which is fine. That I get it. You know, I don't want everything to be this very fast-paced
for sure
type of style. But there were things about it that were a little confusing. It had its highs, it had its lows. Let's actually start with Mario Siletti, because you said it fell a little flat.
I don't know. I just wasn't totally. It just wasn't as exciting for me. His whole storyline with
it was definitely less. Like today's episode did not have a lot of Mario Siletti, but I caught myself watching the episode and at times like rooting for him,
Mario.
like a little bit, and it probably has to do with the fact that we like Curry Graham so much. So we see him and we're like, oh, but it's Curry Graham. But it's not like I was rooting for him to screw over his friend Marty, whatever his last name is. I don't even know. But in this episode, you know, he shows up to the ADA's office and kind of tells the world that he's been shady, that he kind of has this informant that's in jail that has been giving him information for like X amount of time, which violates the 6th Amendment. This is all what they told me. I don't really know much, but this is all in the episode about the 6th Amendment. And so he kind of tells him, like, you should plea out. You're not going to win.
right.
Already kind of saying, like, I'm going to screw you over. Right? And I was, like, enjoying it. I was, like, smiling when I was like, why am I smiling? This is a terrible person.
Yeah, it's just all his master plan. He's just so twisted.
So
like,
twisted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
like,
lot going on.
And, like, Marty was not very nice either. He was like, we were never friends. You're never coming back. Like, all of these things.
I mean, I understand, because this is like, you know, Mario keeps showing up in his office, which is now his office. He needs to just accept that. It's not your office anymore. And he just keeps showing up and causing trouble and making it, you know what I mean? Like, why?
Right. And, like,
go home, like you said.
He convinces Arkin, his attorney, to kind of, you know, snitch. Spill the beans. Right. Give a little hint. Tells whoever he told. We don't know.
Pass a little info along.
Pass a little info. We don't know. We just know that he told him, like, come on, you should do this. And it's funny, like, all the things Arkin was saying. He's like, you guys are brutal to each other. Like, you're so evil. And he claims that it'll help his case. Which I'm assuming it would help his case because Marty would have bad reputation.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or unless he just said that just to get him to do it, when in reality it has absolutely nothing to do with this case.
Right? Yeah, that's why I was kind of confused.
I couldn't tell. I was like, either you're talking because Marty is gonna be, you know, like, everyone's gonna be looking at him,
right,
in a weird way, like you were shady. Are you being shady now?
Suspicious.
How can we believe what you're saying now? Because it seems like you wanted to testify about how much he was drinking, but it was like, how is this really?
Yeah, I mean, it probably just makes him happy also to see someone that's supposed to be filling his job, and he's like, hey, you can't really fill it. Maybe I should take I can take my job back, you know? So, you know, maybe he's trying to trip him up a little bit.
There was a tiny moment where, at the beginning, when they're talking about Billy James, and we'll get into Billy James, when they're talking about Billy James in the press conference, and how he was let loose instead of, like, being held, they have an exchange where Mulk and Navarro are like, well, he would have kept him in jail. He wouldn't be out and about talking about Siletti and how Martin kind of let him be free. Very briefly, I was like, oh, they miss him. But he gets screwed. Marty gets screwed. He shows up at the court. They're in the middle of court, and the woman starts interviewing this informant. And it just peels him apart.
She was on it.
And the informant didn't know, so like he didn't know what to say. He was just being honest.
I loved him. I think he was really genuine.
I agree, and I wish my phone wasn't dead, and I would have looked him up and told you, give him a little credit. But yeah, I liked him too. Very believable. Very like, he's like, what did I do? Nothing. You gave the truth. Honest. Thank you. Like, and Siletti.
Like, right is right and wrong is wrong. Yes, it is. You're right.
Those are true statements you're making there. And Siletti's watching the whole time, like just in the corner, just like
with the grin on his face. He's so happy about it.
His grin reminds me of like the Grinch grin. Like just so like yes, Curry Graham. Yes, that is what it is. And he gets a visit from Marty, which I was shocked at how it ended so peacefully. I was like, Marty's gonna punch.
I don't know. Do you think was it peaceful though? I couldn't tell if it was peaceful or if there was just all this tension that Mario was kind of like, trying to make it a little lighter.
But the way I took it was that he kind of like believed his
he just gave
sweet
in.
Talk.
Yeah, really. Like I couldn't tell because he was quiet. It could go either way. He could have given in and he's kind of just quiet, taking it in, or he could just be like, "I'm gonna get you,"
I guess
But I don't know. It's hard to say.
But he started so intense, and then you're right, he got quiet, and I was like, he got quiet because he started like thinking in his own head. When the one thing that Siletti did say that I felt like made him kind of take a step back when he was like, why would I betray you or something like that? He's like, I chose you,
right?
I handpicked you. And like this whole thing, I was like, such a smooth talker. Like, wow, it just everything, the way he twisted what Marty was saying. So evil. For like a second, I was like, go, Siletti. And I was like, what am I doing? No, you're doing terrible things.
But you do like a lot of Disney villains. So,
I do like Disney villains. That's very true.
A little bit in you know? Roots for the villain.
Yeah, I guess I'm giving him the credit of a Disney. No, you are not as good as the Disney villain.
But the same idea.
Yes, same idea. Same idea. Yes, I feel like something has to happen to Mario. Like get beat up by Marty. Like Marty's like, if you're right, if Marty was like, I'm gonna come after you, my job is already screwed. Like there's nothing I can do. What am I gonna add? Assault charges? Do it. I'll be out in 3 days. Like I didn't kill someone drinking and driving.
But it's interesting though, because like you're saying you're kind of like rooting for him a little bit. I wonder if the writers are doing it on purpose, trying to get us to root for this not great
person.
Yeah. And then the storyline, could be that he is just taking, like just kicking butts and taking names,
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. And that would be kind of awesome too.
That would be, right? And we're only episode 4. I mean, there's only 10 episodes, so like.
Yeah, that's true.
A lot. Not that in reality, there's really not that much time left. If you think about it, 6 episodes where a lot has to be answered. Because after today's episode, so many open-ended questions on not only Siletti, like what's going to happen with Siletti? Somebody's going to kick his butt. I think something's got to happen to him. Something like, I feel like.
You think he's going to get shot.
Yeah, because things can't go well for you the whole 10 episodes. Like, I know the first episode went bad for you, but you can't just have the rest of the way just walking on by.
I guess we'll see.
Walking on by. But so many unanswered questions, including Hildy and Terry. Seriously. What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It was like I think that's what bothered me the most. You and I both at the end of the episode were like, so what did they decide?
Yeah, right?
So are they gonna hide it?
Yeah.
Is somebody transferring?
And it seemed like that was the conclusion after both conversations. After the first conversation, I was kind of like, wait, so... Because he was like, where does this leave us?
And she's like, an interrogation.
Like, stakeout.
Oh, it's stakeout. That you're right.
Like, okay, so you're going to continue to work, which means that you're going to choose to continue being homicide detectives. And so that means you're not going to be together, or you're going to do it, like she said, deep undercover, which, I don't know, what would you do in that situation? If you're one of them, would you choose to... transfer, make your partner transfer, stay deep undercover, or just choose not to be in the relationship because it's not
stay deep undercover until I am basically held at this terrible description because we're talking about like murders and stuff, but be held at gunpoint by, you know, literally speaking, by Lieutenant Kodo and being like, this is done.
Right.
You have to decide right now.
What do you do in that position then? When you get to that point.
We would just be so sneaky. We wouldn't.
Right, but then.
All right, so you're saying I would get there.
Eventually,
I would. Well, if okay, so here's the thing. This is kind of an unfair question because let's say we go undercover and the undercover goes on for 8 months, 10 months, right? Where we're being super sneaky and we finally get caught. I mean, the relationship has been established. At that point, somebody's got to transfer. But if it lasts a month and neither of us wants to transfer, then I guess that relationship is over and we try and remain partners when it wouldn't work out.
Yeah.
How could you remain partners? So basically, there's no good choice here.
There's no answer.
So there's no answer. So we're doing the same thing.
Why, yeah.
We're doing the same thing that we're playing about the episode.
So we're getting to why the writers had gotten to where they got to. We see. So this must have been the discussion.
So you couldn't figure it out either.
That was had.
That's what it was. Because we can't figure it out now. What would you do?
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, well, I would just screw Kodo because like they said, it's not like written anywhere that it's against the rules. You know what I mean? So, you know, stay deep undercover and then, you know, because he was saying if Terry gets promoted,
a subordinate,
he would then be dating a subordinate.
What do you do? But is there any rules? Or is it Terry's rules?
I know. But I mean, well, okay, but who's to say they have to stay in that same district? Why can't, you know, she remain a cop or homicide cop, but maybe like in
a different partner? Or maybe why can't
district
Mulk
or have a different partner? Yeah, exactly. Have a different partner. Yeah.
Have a different partner. Switch, but I think they're are they like slightly above?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Them?
You're right.
But I mean, like
they kind of report to.
Yeah, they tend to report to them.
I don't know, but I just feel like there would be a way to figure it out. You know?
Yeah, like you're being dramatic.
You're being dramatic, but I for sure would not make one of them transfer.
Yeah,
that's a terrible idea.
And I don't think I can make like. What she was saying, I mean, we're kind of jumping around with their story, but when she was like, you have to do it, it's much easier.
Right. That was a big statement for her to say that.
And she was and then he was like, because you're a woman, you're saying that I should transfer. And it's almost like she's kind of right. Like, this is a man's world, per se, when it comes to this job, as much as I would hate to say that. But this job, you know what I mean? Like, you already don't see that many females. So, like, for her to transfer, people are gonna be harsher than if Terry showed up. I'm not saying she can't do it. You could do it, girl. You'll be fine. Obviously. It just is gonna be you're right. It's gonna take a little longer.
I'm surprised that they didn't bring up the fact that he's also a minority. And in today's age, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, being a black cop, like, that's a huge thing. So I'm surprised that didn't,
he didn't bring that up?
Right. Or just either of them.
Yeah.
You know?
But that would have been like, well, what about me?
Right.
Like, you're white. That's not a minority.
Right.
You're a minority in women. But it's such a tough topic. That relationship is so great. That's so for so many reasons.
And the shot when they were looking in the mirror at the very end, they both stopped. I thought he was gonna turn around and kiss her or something.
Yeah.
They just walked away, so that made it more confusing.
Right, especially because the way this episode started with them to the way the episode ended with them, it was like
night and day.
Black to white.
Yeah.
No, but seriously, like, so freaking different.
Yeah,
the episode
sure.
started with her showing up to his place.
They kiss first.
They kiss, and I love are you looking at your watch? Take your watch off. Hildy, take your watch off. But she, distracts him, and she, like, strips and walks off, very sexy.
So comfortable.
So comfortable. And then we end with, so what's happening?
Yeah, right.
What y'all doing? So you together? Are you hiding it?
Though Terry wants. I mean, I love when he's like, "I want to be a couple, baby."
Oh,
yeah, just melted.
Very adorable. It's freaking Kodo. That is like, you can't do this.
Exactly. So that's why I'm thinking, like, we'll just take Kodo out of the picture. Can we just replace him and then get someone that's cool with this?
Right.
And then we'll figure it out from there. Because, you know what I mean? Who's to say that it couldn't work?
Right.
Only Kodo.
Right.
Only Kodo's one saying that you guys can't make this work. They could be great. They could even be better detectives together.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Castle and Beckett. Or
Castle and Beckett.
Although that did get canceled, so.
Because we hear personal. The internet says problems. We don't know what the internet says problems. But they also were doing it for 7 years? 6 years. So it's like that, I agree. They could make it work like Castle. Could you carry that show on for 7 years? Because it's the same story.
Outside of the show, but the relationship.
Right.
The relationship for more than 7 years.
Yes, we could do that. That is very true.
Yeah.
That is very, very true. Yeah, I mean, they were working together. You just said, like, maybe it can make them better. Now, do you think that Kodo was implying, like, what happened to Billy James is because of your relationship? Like, you let it slip?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if he was implying that, but I don't know. Maybe
that's on when he was. That's what I got.
I didn't think of that at all.
I was just kind of like when he was like,
That's
so what
harsh.
happened? Because he was saying like the whole time he's been so against it. Like I know this is only an episode we're showing it, but he was so very harsh this whole episode about their relationship. And then he shows up and he's like, our number one suspect. You two are on it.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so he's implying that.
Yeah, like that's what I thought.
So he already sees that it's an issue.
Exactly. I feel like today was the beginning of him seeing it as an issue.
Yeah.
Now what about...
Well, that's not true at all.
It's not true.
That would have happened regardless of what
you're
their
right.
relationship is.
Because they weren't far behind. It wasn't like they were distracted.
Exactly. It's not like they were making out in the car, so they're like, yeah, exactly.
But, Kodo wasn't there. Kodo can make up all this stuff as to, like, what was going on in the car when they were talking about the relationship, because they were, so... I don't know. I just got that feeling. But what about Kodo and that Serena Parrish girl?
Yeah, you want them to get together, don't you?
I don't know if I want them anymore. Kodo's upsetting me. I don't know if I want Kodo to have a lady.
A little annoying.
Shut up, Kodo. Listen. But please come on the show.
He's not my favorite. Yeah, you can come on. We might tear you apart, but
right. But come on the show. He made a comment. He said that he's like, do your research, or else you're just a pretty face. Saying that. So I was like, oh, there's definitely something. That was like a hint from the writers.
Do you think that that's something appropriate for someone in his position
and
to
then
say
Terry
to
can be like, are you gonna date a reporter, like a gossip columnist?
Exactly.
And I can't date a fellow cop? Shoo.
Maybe that'll come up. Maybe that'll be the situation.
Maybe that will be a situation.
Interesting.
Yeah, you're just a pretty face.
Yeah, but I mean, because he wouldn't say that to,
It's true. It's very true. But it's like almost like what Kodo was saying, I felt also was kind of like, I feel like you're saying this because you're only looking out for yourself, because this whole department reflects you.
Exactly.
So it's always like not really to benefit, not because it's going to benefit them, but it's going to you're just looking out for yourself. Yeah. To make sure that these two.
And that's kind of frustrating because, I mean, I feel like a lot of times cops, or I'm saying cops in general, but, what do you call that? Police officers, whatever, do things or withhold information or whatever to make themselves look better or to cover their butts a little bit, which I understand. But at the same time, aren't you doing this job? Aren't you in this field for justice? Yeah. Shouldn't you be sharing with the public what the actual truth is all the time? Why is that? And they kind of, I can't remember what exactly that moment was, but I think Terry made a point. I can't think of what it is, but Terry made a point, something like that, like
when he's talking to, you're probably, which I was going to bring up, is it when he's talking to the doctor about Normandy? Are you talking about? Yeah. And then he's that like, kind of why don't you, like, if you have your best,
looking out for him.
Yeah, if you had your best interest at the beginning for him, like, why not right now? Exactly. You're still his best interest. Exactly. You telling us this information.
Same thing with the cops, you telling the public this information could help the public, but a lot of times they don't do that for whatever reason, or most of the time to cover their butts, or so they don't get in trouble or whatever. And is that right? Are you really doing what you're in the business for? No business, but you know what I mean? So that was kind of...
And like Terry and Hildy were both like, this is who we both are. Like they just love it so much that neither of them can see themselves transferring out of it.
And I love when Hildy says, if we don't want what's best for each other, what's the point?
That was the point.
So strong, because I think a lot of people in relationships don't take that into consideration. It's like, you should want what's best for each other. They should totally want each other to be homicide detectives and
together,
do what fulfills their lives, because that's what they worked for. So I love that.
And at the end, the reason why we're so confused is because he's having dinner with Hildy and Louise. Louise goes to bed. He tells her, I'm putting in a transfer. And then she's like, I can't let you do that.
Yeah. Right. I mean,
and she's right.
Totally makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. After, even though she said it's got to be you, she's like, I can't make you do that. It's too much pressure. And she also makes an excellent point. She's like, people are gonna think it's because of the shooting. People aren't gonna think it's because of you and me. Oh, absolutely. It's going to give this department, this precinct, a bad taste in their mouth, just a bad name. People are gonna be like, oh, you heard about that cop that shot that one guy? Oh, he moved.
Or he got moved.
Or he got moved.
Even worse.
Even worse. So
they're like, oh, he actually was guilty, but we covered it up, and now we're gonna move him over to another department.
Right.
So
So do you think, let's just, before we move on to the Normandy case, So do you think they keep it under wraps, or we go on to the next episode and it's back to them just being friends and detectives and partners?
I think they're gonna try doing that.
Hiding
friends,
it?
but they're not gonna be able to. I mean, not hiding it. They're gonna try to
they're gonna try to stop the relationship.
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
But then realize they can't
love each
do it.
other.
One of them's gonna have an issue, and the other one's gonna help them, and they're gonna realize they love each other. They can't be without.
Yeah, I think so too. I also think that they are just that the way it ended. It was like we're just gonna work together. We're not gonna, maybe we're wrong. I hope maybe Terry will be like, no, we're gonna do this. We're gonna hide.
Yeah,
we can do it. All right, so Normandy has a crazy girlfriend, or had a crazy girlfriend.
Yeah.
Alicia, who likes to drink vodka at 11 a.m. Now, I'm not judging. Because when I'm in Vegas...
Down for a mimosa.
Mimosa, I could do that right here, right now.
Yeah.
Tell you about Vegas. You push your boundaries. It's cool. You're an artist. But it's like she's kind of losing it.
Oh, yeah.
But is she losing it out of guilt, like they said?
Right.
Or is she losing it just because she lost the love of her life?
Yeah.
Like, that's tough. And, like, the guy, Andy, her lawyer, whatever, like, he's so gross in so many freaking ways. Like, he's everything about him.
His flower shirt. I wrote, ew.
Everything.
That's, like, the douchiest shirt.
Everything about him. The way, like, at the recording studio, when, like, good, get mad at her for drinking, but like he was like, come on, like do this, like use this anger, use these feelings, like you're crying, sing right now. And it's like, I'm pretty sure you can't push an artist when it comes, especially to like singing about, because she was singing a love song, it sounded like, about Normandy, so it's just like, you're such a douche in such a different way from Siletti. Isn't it funny?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it so funny how like such different style of douches, one that is like, they're both greasy in different ways.
Yeah. I mean, Siletti just seems like so into himself. This guy is also into himself, but he just doesn't really care, like genuinely care, I guess, about Alicia, Whereas I felt like Mario, kind of cares for his wife, and whatever. So.
And it's just like, maybe we think Mario's just smart. Like, we don't think this guy, Mario's not stupid. Like, he's not uneducated. While this guy sometimes is like, you seem uneducated. Andy, like, why are you yelling at her?
To the cameras.
The way he was talking to the cameras,
Gross.
like, things where it's like, you're so dumb on what you're choosing to do. I hate that
flipping off the cameras.
Flipping
like,
off the
so
cameras.
Classy.
And poor Alicia, so she's found in the bathtub, which for a second I looked over at Susannah, I was like, now was she murdered?
Yeah, right.
Or is it an overdose? Neither. Turns out I was wrong.
Kind of an overdose.
Kind of, but she survived it. And she wakes up in the hospital. Her dad is there. Very sweet guy who goes out, like he asks her, what did you take? How much? And she's just like, I don't remember. Just tell him it was an accident, And we do get like an idea that from Hildy and Terry, when they're kind of going through the house, there's a lot of prescription bottles.
Right.
There could have been a ton of stuff. One of the things that they focused in on a lot was the beta blockers. Yeah. That they were like, why? And that's why they go visit that other doctor where we're talking about that gives the information. We find out that Normandy knew about the aneurysm, but he wanted to keep playing despite the fact that he lived a higher risk life with his job. And the doctor seemed very, like, I didn't think the doctor was shady. The doctor was just kind of like, no, he knew. I was just helping him, like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't seem that shady. Wait, real quick, going back to the dad. Did you think of anything of her dad? Or he's just like, you didn't know? I don't know. I kind of felt, like, weird about him for some reason. And I was kind of like, where's your mom?
Where's your mom?
Or, or him mentioning, like, where mom is. Usually, like, they reference that, But it was just, like, they only brought the dad. And, I don't know, something about...
What? What did you see?
I don't know. Something about, like, the way he was, like, caring about her almost seemed like I knew this would happen. I knew this would happen. Or, like, maybe he didn't support, like, the relationship. Obviously, he doesn't support the attorney and that stuff going on. But... I don't know, just something there was kind of, like, weird to me about the dad.
That, like, the what you just said of, like, kind of it seemed like he already was expecting this. Like he wasn't shocked
Like
about it.
Exactly. He was by her side and just, I don't know, something about it.
Yeah. I
pinpoint it, but
I mean, he does get in a, and I didn't mean to skip. I just felt like when I was talking about it, I was like, oh, I want to talk about this. I want to talk about that.
I mean, he was there really quick, so it's like...
It was super quick, but they do get in. He goes out and calls out Andy while he's talking to the cameras, saying like, he was trying to say that she was stressed and exhausted from everything, and he goes out and he's like, you did this to her.
You're
like,
a liar.
You're a liar. You put the drinks in her. You made her a product of publicity with all these drugs and stuff. And, you know, what if he, like I think I said yesterday, what if he killed Normandy because he loved her and wanted to make her, the attorney, you know, and like possibly hired Billy James, even though it seems like Billy James might be innocent, but the fact that he was killed in today's episode.
Right. That was confusing.
Right?
Like, why would they kill him if he was already being, you know, framed for the murder or whatever?
Yeah, and it's got to be like somebody who's afraid he's going to reveal. Because like we've all, like this whole time we know he was the hired gun. Like he didn't do this on his own. This wasn't just like, Billy James wasn't like, we're going to wake up and kill this guy. He was probably offered money. We don't even know if he did kill him. Like, but they're saying if it was him, he was definitely hired.
Right.
If he did do it, even though I have no idea, I'm so confused in this episode. I really have no answers. Predictions are gonna be just as quiet. But I don't know. The only thing I can think of is if he did it, the hired gun killed him so that he wouldn't speak, so that he can't say who the hired gun was. Right. You know, like what if we don't ever find out who the hired gun was by the end of the season?
No, we have to.
Do you think they'll leave it like that?
No, 'cause I would be way too mad. I'd be
writing a letter.
Mad. You can't end the season like, no.
That'd be
you
so
better
funny.
answer all my questions.
Like, Billy James is being watched. There's a stakeout, and at the stakeout, we got the best line of the episode. Diversify my nuts, man, by Navarro to Mulk, when they're talking about real estate and investing and all this good stuff. Then they switch out the stakeout, so then Terry and Hildy come, and they're just watching Billy James. He's not doing much, but he does go to the barber, shaves his whole facial, all the beard, everything, and asks for a car for like an hour from his friend that's doing his hair. And he takes off, and Hildy and Terry follow him. Like, they're right there. They follow him. He goes into what looks like a tunnel or like a bridge, under the bridge, whatever. And you hear like a gunshot, and they go after him. Two gunshots, and they go after him. Hildy goes one way, Terry goes the other way, and he's there alone, nobody in sight, with looks like 2 gunshots to the head. I have to sneeze.
Bless you.
Excuse me.
Salud.
Oh, gracias. And there's no phone, no wallet. They mentioned it could be a robbery, but who knows? Maybe he didn't have anything. But he was going somewhere. He knew where he was going.
Oh, yeah.
He was meeting someone.
Yeah, it totally seemed like he was meeting someone. And whoever he met, probably whoever hired him.
Who was a bike? Have we seen anybody on a bike? Because they mentioned that, like, he's probably on a bike and took off. Because Terry's like, I was 20 seconds behind. Like, that must be so frustrating.
Right. He was probably on one of those, like, what are those, gliding boards? And he
just going forward.
Like segways.
Segways, just going away.
Segways away. But yeah, it totally seemed like he met up with someone, and probably that person is the one who hired him. Yeah. And yeah.
So it annoyed me. It annoyed me that when they're like doing the investigation after Billy James gets shot, the medical examiner, when he was like, well, I can tell you it was a certain height and that it was a male.
It's likely a male.
Tell us the height. Yeah. I felt like I was like, why didn't you tell us?
Yeah, or why is it a male?
What does the height have to do unless it's like a really tall, and just by default, you know, men tend to be taller.
I guess, but that sexist? I was totally thinking that when he was like, most likely a male. I was like, how do you know?
I know. I felt like I was like,
I'm
tell
sure
me
there's like
more.
A medical reason,
right.
But I wish they had included that.
Yes, I was like, tell me more. Why do you think this? And it was like, are you just saving this for another episode? I don't like it. Then tell me this the next episode. Right. Why are you telling me this right now?
It's a big statement to say too, because it automatically.
It seems like it narrowed it down, and it was just like, okay, we'll talk about this the next episode. That was annoying. That was frustrating. Yeah. But who do you have an idea of who it is?
I don't know. I obviously think Andy is just a terrible person. Right. I don't know that he's smart enough to do all this. Though he does seem to have a big motive. because I mean, I'm trying to think who's gonna get all this money who's gonna get the life insurance money,
which they showed a preview of.
Which I feel like why wouldn't that be the first thing that they thought of as a cop? Isn't that usually the first, like, who's gonna benefit from this murder? Right,
life insurance.
Yeah,
who had a life insurance out on him?
Something out of this. What's the motive? You know, and obviously, so that's what I was kind of confused about. Yeah, I don't know. I have a couple things going on. I think it could be maybe Andy related, maybe Alicia's dad or something.
Yeah, I thought that too, because I was like, why bring him in? I felt like that scene
and
was no mom.
I'm just so upset about mom now.
They said that there was a restraining order, so there's stuff we don't know.
Yeah, there's history, and just I don't know, something about him. I was just like, ugh. And maybe he's purposely attacking Andy in front of the cameras to make Andy seem like
the person,
exactly,
like the bad guy,
or just put the eyes on him or whatever.
Right.
You know, just
right.
So there's that. I also had a thought when they were talking to Dr. Kaplan, like, what if Normandy just kind of knew like what was going on and whatever. What if, and this is kind of really far-fetched, he ordered his own hit on himself. You know, it's his birthday, he's so happy, but he knew that there was something going on, or he knew that he wasn't gonna live. He wanted to, you know, maybe give his money to, who was that, his mom? I'm not sure who that was. She said they were like his boys, but I wasn't sure why.
I thought it was grandma,
okay,
to Billy James, and since Billy James then said he's like my brother,
right,
I just, you know, that's what I thought.
Something.
Yeah.
So I don't know, something like that, but I was like, that would be kind of crazy, but what if that's a possibility? I mean, there are football players that commit suicide because they know of all this stuff, and then, you know, or whatever, and then they donate for research.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's something along those lines is what I was kind of getting at. What if he ordered his own hit? You know? Yeah. So
I don't agree.
Just like crazy thoughts.
And I get what you're saying, but it's like, how crazy and how effed up would it be if he did that and that's the way he chose to go out, like in front of his girlfriend, in front of all these people, like. I get what you're saying, but it was like, if you chose to do that, that's a terrible way. You couldn't have done it a little bit more discreet.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's the only thing. But that would be an interesting thought. Because I don't think that's gonna happen. Let's talk real quick about that scene with, I think it was Billy's grandmother. That whole scene when they go tell her like that he's dead. There's a lot of things she says that is just like real brutal. Like, I wonder what it would have been like to hear that being Terry and Hildy when she was like, you made him a target.
Oh, right.
Look in the mirror. You killed him. You think our skin color makes us family? No. Like, all of those things she was saying.
Yeah.
It's just so brutal, and it's like, I get you're mad. I totally get you're upset. But you're probably withholding information that can help this situation, but you're upset.
Right.
Because it's like, she had to have known something. You don't think she knew anything? When they were like, do you know where he was going? Where he was going? Who he was going to meet? You don't think she knows anything?
I don't know. I don't think she does.
Yeah? No? I feel like...
Or maybe she's the person who would get the life insurance money, and maybe she is involved or something.
Who is getting this life insurance money?
Yeah, but I don't know. That doesn't seem like her, you know? It doesn't seem like...
I mean, I don't think she's... I'm just saying, like, I feel like she's... just talking about keeping the best interest at heart and like all that, like, I feel like she might know, even if it was just like, well, he was mentioning this, like maybe subconsciously she heard something, but she's just so upset, she just doesn't want to talk. And I also get that too. It's like, you just don't want to talk, you're upset.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I'm sure they're kind of used to hearing like, oh, this is your fault that my son died. You know, I'm sure they get that all the time.
They probably do get that more.
The race card, literally talking about the card, but that was kind of like unnecessary.
Yeah, that was just a low blow.
Yeah, and it's just so unnecessary. And I feel like making comments like that just really sets everyone back as a society. Like, why do you need to keep bringing that up? You know, that has nothing to do with anything.
Nothing to do with...
Sorry,
yes.
But the more you keep bringing it up and saying that it's an issue, the more you're making it an issue, perpetuating that. So that irritates me, but anyways.
Right, and you're right, it was completely unnecessary. And it has nothing to do with it. You didn't need to say that. You were just saying that to like hit him where it hurts, trying to hit him where it hurts.
Yeah,
when it's like, dude,
he was like, I don't want to do anything about that. What color are you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like,
but yeah, why that needs to be said.
Yeah, very true. Now the real question is, what is gonna happen? Do we have any predictions? I feel like we kind of covered.
Like, it's so jumbled. There's so many possibilities.
Right, and
they're not really trying to like really make you think it's one person.
Right.
They just want us to figure it out on our own.
It's like, seriously, we're being detectives in this. All right, Jack Kaplan, the doctor who gave the beta blockers. You think maybe a little shady?
I don't think so.
Yeah, me neither. I actually think we'll never see him again. But great job. Alicia's dad.
A little shady.
A little shady.
Yeah. Or maybe not shady, but just, I don't know, something about him.
Something's going to come up.
Andy is just too obviously annoying.
Like
and
they're
douchey
purposely giving us that guy to like think it's him.
Right, or to make the public think it's him or whatever.
Right. Okay.
I don't know, whatever. But yeah, he just seems too easy.
Okay. Serena Parrish, and Kodo. Nothing going on?
I don't know about
just an
romantically.
annoying, not romantically.
Yeah, I think, professionally,
why something
issues.
She has to give us something. Like, why is she around? Because if you take her out of this show, nothing changes. You know what I mean? Absolutely nothing.
What if she's related? What if
she's trying to direct us somewhere?
She's just making a good story. Or
Bottom line is we don't know.
No idea.
That is the bottom line. If you think you know, why don't you let us know on Twitter? Susannah, where can they find you to tell you their predictions?
You guys can find me at Susannah_Kim. It's SUSANNAH_KIM.
Beautiful. You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, MonseBolanos. Thank you so much for being with us this week. Next week for episode 5, we will be taping much later than what we've been doing. We're going to be doing 11 p.m. Now, taping at 11, watching it. Yes, we're going to be taping it at 11. I know it's late. Don't worry. Go to sleep, wake up in the morning, and then just, listen, watch. We'll be there. But
the West Coasters can watch with us.
Yes. All right. So just know, 11 p.m. next week. Thank you so much. Let us know what you think if you're just as confused as us. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.